Joy, peace, tranquility, vibrancy, and wellness. Isn't this what you want instead of constant stress? That's what host Rochelle Lawson is going to help you with on Blissful Living. There are many ways to reduce stress, some you may not even know about. Doesn't a little peace and tranquility sound like just what you've been looking for? Relax for a few minutes with Rochelle. She's the queen of feeling fabulous.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blissful Living. This is the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Rochelle Marie Lawson, and I have a great show in store for you today. If you've had any interest in holistic energy healing or holistic healing or anything with regards to just making your body feel really yummy, luxurious, and healthy and well using holistic practices, then you definitely want to stay tuned. I have a great guest for you tonight, or today, rather, or whenever you may be listening to this. You may be listening at night. You may be listening to this in the day. Anyways, it's going to be a great guest. And I also want to thank our corporate sponsors of the show, the Blissful Living for You, at blissfullivingforyou.com. Check that site out. Have some wonderful things to help you just have a better life as you travel down your path to bliss. And All Day Cable Incorporated, which is a telecommunications installation company. They've been around for about 30 years in Silicon Valley. And if you have any needs for network distribution, voice data, fiber optic installation, wireless systems, audio, video, or speaker systems, then you definitely want to check All Day Cable out at alldaycableinc.com. And so I hope that piqued your curiosity a little bit about today's show. I don't know why I keep saying tonight. I must be in tune to do something fabulous tonight. But let me tell you about our guest. Our guest for Blissful Living. Oh, first of all, I want you to find a nice, comfortable spot. Sit back and relax. Get your favorite beverage if you can, or if you're driving or doing something and listening to this, just try to be in tuned as possible. If you're sitting and relaxing and having taken some time out for yourself, which I highly suggest that you do, then grab a piece of paper, pen, something to write with, because you're going to want to take some notes with regards to nuggets of gold that our guest is going to share with you. So, are you ready? Let me tell you about our guest. Daniel the Healer is our guest, and Daniel the Healer is an intuitive, holistic energy healer, a body whisperer, a medical intuitive, psychic energy chiropractor, psychic surgeon, and spiritual counselor. He is the ultimate expert on your energy field and offers you his amazing gift of healing with love. After he learned the healing modality, quantum touch, he was able to heal with his gaze. Ooh, check that out. This means that Daniel can work with you anywhere in the world as long as you can make a video connection with him. It's great. What's even more amazing is he also can transmit healing energies via a recorded video. So, wow, you definitely want to stay tuned for this, you guys. You can simply sit at home, watch a video of Daniel's gazing, and experience healing. Daniel's most popular services are his Life Essence reading, where he looks at over 85 criteria in your energy field and he gives you a report on how far along you are on your spiritual journey. And his aligning the body sessions, where he aligns your skeletal structure by sight. So, Daniel the Healer, I would like to welcome you to Blissful Living. How cool it is to have you, and what an honor.
Oh, thank you, too. It's an honor for me as well, and Bliss is my middle name. I pretty much live in Bliss 24/7, so I'm at the right spot at the right time.
I love it. Yes, you are. So I want to jump in and start with questions. I am, I feel so honored because I have been studying energy, not in the capacity of your studies, but just something that I want to say that I've been kind of innately born with, to sense energy. and it's helped me in so many ways. And so I want to ask you, what led you to become a holistic energy healer and do all the wonderful work that you do?
Well, it certainly is a very, very, very long stretch from my beginnings. I was born in Switzerland to some very left-brain-oriented parents. I knew nothing about emotions. I knew nothing about energies. All I knew is I had a body and I had thoughts. And along the way, I came to the U.S. in 1973, and somewhere in 1975, 76, around there, a friend of mine said, "Hey, let's go and have some fun. Let's go and meet with this Greek coffee grinds reader." I said, "Okay." And we went, and basically she made what, a Greek coffee is similar to Turkish coffee. The grounds are still on the very bottom, and I drank a sip, and then she turned the cup upside down, and these coffee grinds kind of trickled down on the sides, and she let it dry a little moment. She turned the cup around, and she read 3 things. She predicted 3 things that would happen in the next 6 weeks.
Oh.
And they all became true to a T. Very specific.
Oh, wow.
Yes. That just burst my bubble, literally.
Right.
I had no idea something like that could exist. And so when the same guy who introduced me to this woman a few months later said, "There is a channel coming through town," instead of saying, "Oh, that's nincompoop," I went. And I met Lazarus, who became my spiritual teacher. And I've been interacting and going to seminars with Lazarus for the last 40-some years.
Wow.
And Lazarus taught me all the things on the other side. And that's how I learned about energies. That's how I learned about the minds, the conscious, subconscious, unconscious minds. That's where I learned that we function on 4 different levels simultaneously, which is what holistic means: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual energetic. And then additionally, what happened around that same time, 40-some years ago, is that I wanted to obtain a private pilot's license, and I had a real hard time with learning from the manual. And so another friend suggested I go and see a hypnotist. And the hypnotist, in one session, he brought me down, gave me some post-hypnotic suggestion, and said, "Okay, you're all done. Goodbye. Have a great day." And it made my learning capacity a breeze. Whereas before that, it took me over 6 weeks to slug through 5 chapters. In one more week, I read the other 7 chapters, and I took my exams, and I passed in the high 90s. So that, too, that one could go into some relaxed state and learn and be given some words, and that these words could make so much difference in your life. That, too, just blew my mind. And so about 2 or 3 months later, and by then it was still snail mail, when I got a letter in the mail that this guy was teaching a weekend class on hypnosis, I went. I learned hypnosis, and I put out my shingle. And that was the first healing sessions that I did.
Wow, that is so cool. I mean, it's funny, you never know. You're someone from Switzerland and you come here, you just never know. Sometimes you think you go to a place for one reason and it ends up being something totally different, but still beautiful, right? But not, I'm sure when you were, in your homeland, you weren't thinking that you would come to, the U.S. and do this kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure that wasn't.
No, not at all. That was totally
right?
not included. Matter of fact, when I came to this country, I was still on my way to travel around the world, and because my formal training is in the hotel industry, so it's easy to see the world. You just apply for a job. And my first job was in Bermuda, and then I went to the Bahamas, and then I was going to go to Hong Kong, and then I was going to go to Dubai and something like that, and eventually go back to Switzerland. And once I came to the United States, I found the freedom of lifestyle so incredibly fantastic that I was never going to go back to Switzerland. They're so, it's an old culture. It's full of tradition and all that. And from my point of view now, I call them anal retentive. But don't misread me. Going there as a tourist and visiting the country and seeing these glorious sights and the Alps and the snow and everything is so clean and the food is so terrific and chocolate is the best.
The
and
chocolate
cheese is out
and the
of this world
and
whatnot.
Right? And the spa treatment. Oh my gosh.
But freedom of lifestyle, U.S. is number one.
Really? Wow. Let me just say, listeners, there you have it. If you are in the U.S. and sometimes we take for granted our freedom of lifestyle because it's just what we do. Listen to Daniel the Healer, as he say, that it's the number one place because everywhere is not like how we are. And so I want to ask you with regards to your intuitive holistic energy healing. And can you just share with the listeners what exactly that is?
Okay, so holistic we already talked about. That's dealing on 4 levels simultaneously: physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. And the reason this comes up because, as an example, if you go to a regular doctor, allopathic medicine, and let's say you have pains on the right side, kind of middle of your torso, and it could be the gallbladder, could be the liver, and so they look at it, they take tests, they run all kinds of things, and yes, they find something, and they give you a drug, but that wasn't the reason. The drug only alleviates the symptoms. The reason is there because that's what we do. If we have unresolved anger issues and we stuff the old angers away, they get stored in the liver. And when the liver gets overloaded with anger, then it's going to act up. And so when they come and see me, when, let's say, they come and say, hey, something's wrong with my liver, and I look at the liver, and then my very first question is it physical? No. Is it mental? No. Is it emotional? Yes. Is it spiritual? No. So what is it emotional? And then I go and find it. And then, maybe I'll say, you need to do some anger release, and 2-3 weeks later, the person's liver works just fine. That's what holistic means. It means that you look at all the aspects that come together that could be the cause for this particular thing not working right. Intuitive.
I love it.
Next word, intuitive, means that I receive my information beyond that which comes to me through my regular 5 senses.
Ooh. Sounds
That's
yummy.
what intuitive is.
Okay.
So I have healing helpers on the other side. Matter of fact, I have a crew of 22.
Wow.
And so when I see somebody and I start working out and I have lists and I go down the list to, is it this, is it that, is it the other, whatever, then they're with me and they perceive it. And then they give me the information. Either sometimes I hear it as a little voice. Sometimes I come onto it through kinesiology, or what they call muscle testing. Sometimes, of course, it's experience. And so I figure it out. And then I can, you said I'm a medical intuitive. That's part of the intuitive, where I get my information beyond the regular five senses. And by the way, everybody talks about, I have a good sixth sense. No, the sixth sense is in actuality 7 other senses. So you have the 5 regular ones, and then you have the 7 other ones, and that brings together a whole extra field of information that, because I trained myself in that I have access to. And then finally, that covered holistic and intuitive. Yes. And now we're going to go to energy. So part of your spiritual body, you being of the spirit, you having a soul, your eternal self, you having a spirit, part of that is your energy field. And your energy field holds your aura and holds your chakras. And most of who you are is in your energy field. It's not in your physical
body.
More of you is in your energy field than in the other 3 bodies combined.
Oh, wow.
And so if something's not working right in your energies, then things can go awry on the physical plane. And so and I taught myself that and took classes and practiced and did this and did that for many, many years.
Right.
But when something's off in your energies, then if you don't take care of it, eventually it will trickle down into your physical body and will show itself up as a pain, as an illness, as a malady, or some sort of a non-functioning, like, a broken bone or something like that. If you have issues in your lower back, you have issues with not having support. If you have issues in your feet, you're having a hard time standing on your own 2 feet. And there's all these things that when you look at what is happening physically that have meaning on other levels. And so
let me ask you this. You just piqued my curiosity. Oh, my gosh, I'm so excited, Daniel the Healer. I feel like a little kid in a candy store. So let me ask you, what if you have, and listeners, this is just general information for you as well, but like what if you mentioned the feet, I got that, and you mentioned the lower back, which totally makes sense because, your root chakra is there and that's your grounding and, center, your energy center that's for grounding. Let me ask you, what about if someone has problems in their shoulders? Since, we've moving kind of up the body.
Right. Shoulders generally tend to be that you carry too many burdens.
So listeners, hopefully you're picking up on some of these cues that Daniel the Healer is sharing with us. And I am a true believer that your what's out there is in your mind, whatever in your mind or whatever imbalanced in your well-being holistically, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and mentally, whatever out of balance will manifest, like Daniel the Healer says, in your body. It's energetically, it's going to move from the to the end until it starts developing something to try to get your attention. And then it's when we don't pay attention that it speaks to us in louder volumes. Now, Daniel, you mentioned with regards to, energy, and I'm so like, oh my gosh, you just don't know. I'm so excited. But you mentioned with regards to energy, and you hear a lot of people talk about you hear a lot of talk about chakras, but two, you also hear a lot of talk about auras. Can you just explain to the listeners a little bit about aura? What is your aura? I know there's varying colors and how far it radiates out and in and things of that nature, but can you just give them a quick educational tidbit on auras? Because that's the main thing I think everyone will hear they come in contact with is, oh, your aura, or you need to protect your aura. Or, they don't talk about the rest of the energy fields. It may not be the right context for today, but definitely because aura is out there. Can you just share your wisdom with regards to that?
Okay, so aura is your personal energy field. It is surrounded by a kind of a very, very fine skin or boundary, let's put it this way. And so on the inside is your personal space, and on the outside is the world space. So, as I told you, you are more than anything else. You are energy. And where are these energies? Well, these energies are in your aura. A very, very simple thing is that anything that is followed, that follows the two words, I am, except when it's a physical attribute, like I am tall, that's physically. But I am generous. That is an energy.
Oh.
Do you get that?
Yes.
It's not physical. I'm generous. That's not physical. Yes, being generous means physically I may write a check to some foundation or some charitable organization. Yes, but being generous, is it an emotion? No. Is it mental? No, it's energetic. It's an energy. So anything that is not a physical attribute that follows the word I am is an energy. And all of these energies are held in this personal space, which is your aura, which is a egg-shaped, hopefully, in a good case, it's egg-shaped, because when it's nicely egg-shaped, you have good personal protection. It's this field that extends maybe 2, 3, 4 feet above your head, 2, 3, 4 feet below your feet, 2, 3, 4 feet out to the sides. That is your energy, your personal energy field, or your aura. Now, the aura in itself just holds it. But the chakras, which are these energy centers, these vortices, and there's 7 in the body, the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. These are your microphones and your loudspeakers pertaining to energies of your whole world. Any interaction between you and another person on the energetic level goes through your chakras. And just like your chakras are kind of an array, just like a loudspeaker, a big fancy loudspeaker is an array with a woofer, a subwoofer, a tweeter, a horn. Your chakras too deal with certain frequencies. And so if you have issues that deal around safety security, then the information going in and out is through your root chakra. But if it's in regards to love, then it goes through the heart. And so your chakras are basically your energetic communication tools, and you communicate with anybody else's energies. You know how they say, basically, you meet somebody new and you know who they are in 10, 15 seconds. You kind of get a result.
Yes.
That comes in through your chakras.
Oh, wow.
So it's really important to keep your chakras clean and aligned. Because let's say that you know, the evening has come and you're going to bed and you're saying your nightly prayers and you have gratitude for all the good things and all the bliss you experience during the day. And sometimes this is a moment where you can address the divine and express a desire. And so your desire will create an imagery in your mind, which will create an energy, just like when you speak into the microphone at the radio station, then these frequencies go as an energy over the radio waves.
Right.
The same thing happens in our system, and then gets projected out through your chakras to the universe, to the divine. And if those chakras are not aligned properly, if they're not functioning well, then just like in a computer chip that has these little gates, these logic gates, if one of the switches is not switched right, then the message gets garbled. And then, you know, instead of you saying to the divine, hey, I really would like to be healthy and well, the universe understands, hey, I really would like to be so sick and doing so poorly. And then that's what you get served.
Wow. Now, is there a way I'm like intrigued. You know, I've been studying this, nothing like you, but just intrigued all along, and I am a pretty good perceiver of energy, and quite intuitive. You know, I'm a registered nurse and an Ayurvedic health practitioner, and so when I was working in the clinical setting, emergency room, I was really intuitive with what was going on with, you know, one of my patients. Say we had a patient and doctors couldn't really figure out, it could be this, it could be that. They really couldn't figure things out. Everything kind of, lab work, everything, testing kind of all kind of seemed the same, but there was multiple things going on. I would be the one to say, hey, I think it's this, or I know it's this. And then they would be like, okay. And after a while I got pretty good because they would follow my, you know, what I would say. You know,
once it becomes truthful more than once or twice, well, you know,
then people
hey,
start
this woman
attention.
knows.
Yeah. And so it was that was really fun. And I just thought it was just, you know, I always say it's a gift from the divine that I'm like that. But it just really helped me to be a really, really good registered nurse and take care of my patients as best I could, because I could see, I could feel, or I just had a knowing when something was not right, or if they looked okay, but they were going to crump, or, you know, vice versa. So it was really good. So it's so beautiful to be able to talk to someone that's an expert, a true expert on this, and just, I feel so like enlivened and invigorated. It's like, oh my gosh, I told you I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm just, all these questions are coming so
and
fast.
obviously your chakras functioned well because you got the correct information.
Yeah, you know, and like I said, it was a blessing, and it was truly, and I think that's probably when I really began to realize that I had something, right? And then the doctors would be like, oh, let's ask Rochelle. It was just the cutest thing, and I just thought it was just so special. We're just trying to help the patients, you know, progress in a more positive manner. So it was great. But I want to get back to you. Enough about me.
Well, I have a question, though, because I looked at your picture. And you're, pardon my French, you're a young squirt. So when did you have time to do all this?
Well, no, I'm not. Well, okay, so here's you can relate to this, and you'll laugh at this, just kind of chuckle. So I say I'm 29. Apparently, when I was 29, it must have been a really good year because I feel 29. People say I look 29, but I'm in my mid-fifth decade of my life. I have kids 29. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
So
no, you look young on this picture.
Oh, thank you. And it's and that's the other thing. It's not an old picture. If you saw me right now, I look exactly the same. My hair is a little different. I have bangs now, but you would say, "Oh my gosh!" And people say that, and I just kind of laugh because it's just like, well, But I think it's because I've told myself, and I tell everyone that I'm 29. I've done it for so long that I guess I'm really emotionally, mentally, energetically picking up that vibe from when I was 29, and I don't know.
I hear you.
Thank you.
I mean, I feel 37, even though I'm 72. I feel 37 all the time.
See, I think truly you're as young as you feel, and if it's like everyone, we know our real ages. Okay, there's if you ask me really what my real age is, I would tell you, but my mind, my body, my physicality, my emotion, everything about me feels like I'm 29. And so, like you feel like you're 37. It's just, and it's funny, I've had some old patients, I shouldn't say old, but elderly, like late, 95 plus. And this one lady told me, she was so cute, she was having a heart attack, but she told me, she said, "Sweetie, if you surround yourself with young people and young energy, you stay young." And I knew how old she was, and she didn't look it. And, here she's having this heart attack, and she's doing absolutely fabulous. She did absolutely fabulous. But it was that always stuck with me. And so it's like, I don't know. But anyways, that's enough about me. I want to ask you more because you mentioned, one of my favorite things is the chakras. And I don't know enough about them to even be able to talk educatedly about them. I mean, I know enough about what they are, where they are, and I know there's more than just the 7 that dwells within us, our energy centers. But you mentioned the heart chakra, and I know the heart chakra is, the love center. Can you share some words of wisdom about how one may be able to activate that heart chakra in a positive manner that will be bestowed in their life?
Did you go to my website? Because I have a heart love activation video.
Oh, no. Really?
Yeah, I created one. So, anyway.
Listeners, we're going to give you that information. Before Daniel, the healer, goes, we're going to give you that information about this because now I'm really intrigued. I want to kind of pop on and go to your site, but then I'll be too distracted. So, but tell us, Daniel, the healer, please.
I mean, it sounded like, a good setup for...
That's because we're energetically connected right now. I'm sending you vibes and you're sending them to me.
Thank you for that. But anyway, well, you see, you first of all, you need to receive energy to survive. You need to receive the love. You need to receive the universal love. You need to receive the love of people that love you. And you need to do the same thing with others. Unfortunately, what happens generally in many people's early stages of life is that the love is conditional. We will give you kudos and we will love you if you bring home good grades. And if you don't bring home good grades, we will either ignore you, give you the cold shoulder, or outright just tell you should apply yourself more and do whatever you need to do to next report card bring home better grades.
Right.
So that's conditional love. And so sometimes when we receive too much conditional love, we kind of go into a survival mode and we say, it's easier for me not to receive any love at all than to receive conditional love. And so those people, they kind of shut down their heart. And it's a really good survival technique when you're like 10, 12, 14 years old. But if you then forget about this decision and here you are like 25, 30 years old and you absolutely want the romantic relationship and nothing happens, it's because you decided to shut down your heart. And of course, like I said, you know, your chakras are your loudspeakers and your microphones to the energetic world. If you have your heart shut down, then other people will perceive you as not being able to love. And if you're not able to love, then, you know, on a subconscious level, why would I want to be with this person? They can't love. They have their heart shut down. So, interestingly enough, of the 7 chakras, the heart is the center one. There's 3 above and 3 below.
Right.
And so it's the core of who you are.
Oh,
it's
wow.
the very center. It's the most important one of your chakras in that regard. Also, it is the chakra where you connect with your soul. Soul is you, the eternal one, the eternal self. And so everything divine, your higher self, your guardian angels, God and Goddess, all that connects through the crown chakra, except for soul, which connects through the heart. And so it's really important, again, to have your chakras well aligned so that the soul can find you. Because when we come into this reality, when we are born, when we come from this being in the eternal now as this incredible, wise, grand being, having decided to have a lifetime, and we grab a little bit of who we are and we come through the veil of time-space, we lose connection with the oneness. We lose connection with who we are. We lose connection with the divine. And we start from scratch. And that is very, very specific to being born on this planet Earth. Other places in the universe, you get a download of all of your lifetimes, and you know who you are, and you bring all of your faculties and what you know and your wisdom and all that with you. Here, we begin from scratch every time. Now, there's people who do not quite lose the connection. A lot of us lose the connection because we're being taught that those 5 senses that we have in the physical, the smell, the sight, the taste, the touch, and there's one more.
Hearing. I do that too.
Yes, hearing. Thank you. That these are the only thing that count. And so when you get involved in the 5 senses, then you forget about the other 7. And so you lose connection with the rest of the universe and with all the things that go on beyond time-space.
Wow.
So the soul doesn't know where to go unless you go into your heart and you call for your soul to be connected to who you are as this magnificent, grand, beautiful, divine, eternal self that you are. And that's what we really need to know here on the physical, is that we're not physical beings trying to have a spiritual experience.
Right.
We are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and we need to not lose sight of who intrinsically we are. We are these magnificent, majestic, grand, divine beings. And if you can tune into that and own that, then your life will back to you and you're living in eternal bliss. You will be in bliss. Part of being in bliss is that you know intrinsically that the divine loves you and has your back.
Oh, my goodness. That's so beautiful. I'm writing, and I can't keep up the action of my hands to write all that you said, but that's so, so beautiful. Wow, I just have this, like, really loving feeling emitting from me because what you said with regards to, I've heard that before, that you're not a physical being having a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being having a physical experience. And I got it. I kind of got it. I communicate with the angelic world, so I got it. I do some soul stuff. I try to connect with my soul as much as possible and all that good stuff. But I got it, right? But when you just said what you said, it just gave a whole new meaning to things and maybe even experiences that I've had or that I'm having in my life right now. And it's like, wow, I'm a magnificent spiritual being, and I'm here having this experience in this physical body right now because I just want to experience the newness. And as long as my physical body doesn't forget that, then the stuff that happens is just stuff that happens. It's not something that I have to hold on to like a shield of armor. It's just stuff that happens. At least that's how it comes across for me. So it's like I don't have to wear all that stuff like a badge of courage because it's just stuff. It's just an experience that my spiritual self is experiencing through my physical self. So it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it really just made me feel just really warm and just, to realize that I'm a magnificent being. I'm a magnificent spiritual being.
We all are. We all are, and it's very unfortunate that we live in such a world that is so big on shaming people and making them being insignificant and, what do don't do this, you can't make a difference, you're just one person. That's not true. Every one of us is a precious, precious, beautiful being with a spirit and a soul and a purpose for living and on a journey and to ultimately go back into the fold of the divine. The physical world as it exists here on Earth, we live in a three-dimensional world. People call it 3D reality.
Right.
It's because we have height, we have depth, and we have width, like a cube.
Mm-hmm.
That's our 3D world. This is the furthest dimensionally you can go from the divine. There's no more further away. You don't, like your higher self that subdivides into all the lifetime that you have, you do not subdivide into further, smaller particles. You are the smallest, furthest away particle from the divine there is. And so, of course, with you coming into this world and forgetting who you are, and I'm not saying that you specifically, you, Rochelle, but you in the general sense, and then you forget who you are, and then your parents tell you, oh, you're not doing well, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and you take it as all in, and you feel defective, you feel unlovable, which is all part of being in shame. And this is all a fallacy. It's not true. It's not true at all. It does create an energy field that is self-sustaining, but if you understand that this is all a lie and you can change it around, then you will create a new energy field around you which will attract a different reality to you because you attract to you what you are.
Wow.
So if you're, if you're in despair and having a hard time and suffering in your life, then that is because you were conditioned to be like that before you knew that that's what conditioning was. A lot of things happen in even pre-verbal before you can even talk.
Right.
Where all these beliefs and attitudes that you hold are being imposed upon you, and then you believe in those, and then because you believe in it, and that's who you think you are, then that's what you attract. And it's actually only a self-fulfilling prophecy. So when I look at people's energy field, when I do my life essence reading, I look at the energies that I hold, and I can turn things around, and I can give them input about what they need to do on their side to get in touch with that truer self that they are, this grand, magnificent being. And then once they are able to incorporate that into their daily lives, then their life, what comes to them, what the universe supposedly brings you, you know, like you're driving into traffic and you have you have an accident. That's only happens because you have a certain energetic makeup that attracted that to you. If you don't have that, then you can drive wherever you go and you won't have an accident. And you say, oh, but it's not my fault. They ran a stop sign.
Yes.
But why were you there when somebody ran a stop sign?
Right. Wow.
And so energetically, you invite what happens to you in your life, you invite it by projecting through your chakras the whole makeup of who you are, so that, you know, you're a nurse. You know about receptor sites?
Yes.
Cells have receptor sites for, like, just one thing for insulin. There's a receptor site so the insulin can attach itself. It's like
a little code.
Shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a code, but it's like two shapes that fit together. And if one shape changes, then the other shape cannot attach to it because it's not like a cookie form anymore. The shape has changed. And so what you put out, what your energies are that you put out, creates a receptor site for the exact opposite to attach itself to it.
Wow. So basically, you know, with the talk about the law of attraction and all of that.
Yes.
That's
really what the law of attraction is.
Attraction is about, right. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Listeners, I hope you are taking notes and are writing stuff down. There's lots of nuggets of gold that Daniel the Healer has been sharing with us. And it can have, if you listen, really listen to what he's saying and apply some of the stuff that he's sharing with us into your own life, you can have some profound changes. But I want you all to connect with Daniel. Boy, he may get too busy and then have to shut it down. But anyways, I want you guys to all be able to absorb this information and connect with him to learn more, have him work with you on any area about what we're talking about. And Daniel, I want to get into, and I want to ask you, because I did mention that you do gazing and you do healing with, via gazing. Can you share with the listeners what exactly is a gazer and how that works?
Okay, so one of the things that you mentioned when you introduced me, you said that I was an energetic chiropractor.
Yes.
And so the way this works is that, like I mentioned that was part of Quantum Touch. Quantum Touch is not something that I developed. It's a modality that I learned. I went to many other healers and learned a lot of things over those 45 some years that I've been doing this. And but in Quantum Touch, you learn how to activate your heart chakra. And so I've learned, for the purpose of healing, and that's why it says this offers you services of healing with love, is because when I do my healings, I first establish a beam of love energy that comes out of my heart chakra. Then I modulate that with an intent. In other words, let's say your hip bone is out, and so you come to me and I say, oh, my hips are hurting. And I look at it and say, oh, yeah, indeed, your hips are crooked. So let me establish this beam of love energy out of my heart chakra. Let me modulate onto this beam the intent that your hips go back into position. And then I send this to you, but the beam doesn't know where to go. And so just like when in the military you have to illuminate the target with a laser beam so that the guided missile can find the target, I illuminate the target with my gaze. And that means where I look, where I train and focus my eyes, which then I do by looking at your hips, then that heart beam knows where to go. And so it does reach your hips, and then your hips say, oh, we've been doing it all wrong. This is what we need to do, because they got the message of the intent, and then they line up. And so one of the things that I do skeletal alignments, and I do it over the internet. I have clients all over the world, and with all kinds of strange conditions. My specialty seems to be for people that had some sort of an accident or surgery, and that are just not in a right condition. And so, because again, I look at the whole, not just at your hips being out, but sometimes your hips are out because your bottom of your soles are not in alignment.
Right.
And so if I align the bottom of your soles, then your hips automatically fall into place. But that's what a gazer is, because I've learned how to gaze at whatever is not working right, and then the heart beam knows where to go, and that's where the energies will go.
Okay, so
did that all make sense?
It. Yes, it does to me perfectly. You explained it absolutely perfect. I love it. There should be a ton of people wanting to get in contact with you. I'm thinking myself, like, oh gosh, sometimes I feel like my left leg is shorter than my right leg, and I don't know. Sometimes I know we all have a body. One side of our body is longer or shorter than the other, but sometimes it seems to be a little bit more. And I often wonder, like, what's going on? And then, it corrects itself. But it's like, if I focus on what's
most things are temporary.
If I focus on what's going on, like what's going on with my body, and try to connect it to like what's off in my life or something, sometimes I never figure it out. I would say very rarely do I figure it out, and not while it's happening, but after, after it's corrected it and I've got another issue that comes up. It's like, oh, okay, I know what was, okay, I can relate that to that, right? So it's actually really cool. But, now that I have you, I can have access to you. I can just say, set up an appointment or something and say, hey, Daniel, this is what's going on with me, or, however, I need to proceed to work with you. So it's beautiful. Okay, we're almost out of time, and I have so much I want to ask you. I want to ask you about. something that's pretty dear to me right now, and that's with, exuding more positivity in our world and bringing more peace, to all of us. And I'm wondering if you can share with the listeners how we can do that, singularly or collectively.
Singularly works very well. Collectively, amplifies it enormously. I imagine every morning, every evening, I imagine a new world. So what it is you need to hold the resonance. Our media is very... they revel in fear mongering and when you read a paper and they said this, how people were shocked about this, and no, people weren't shocked. They're just using words to suck you in.
Right.
And so all the in the news business they say if it bleeds, it leads. So that's the headlines. If somebody got killed, that comes up front.
Right.
So we're being bombarded with, because news, something that unfolds slowly is not newsworthy. It's something that you can find on the police scanner, and that creates the news. And so we're being fed this image of this world that is actually falling apart. Now the world is, to a certain extent, doing poorly, but in other words, it's doing better than it's ever done for eons. We're further along in the goodness of people's hearts than we've ever been before, and that is beautiful. And so you cannot become discouraged over all this stuff that you're being bombarded with, and you have to hold this resonance. And so here, we don't have much time left, but I need to throw this little tidbit in. It is your future that creates your present, not your past.
Oh, wow.
It's who you are becoming that creates what is happening in this moment. And so if you create an image of you having achieved whatever it is that you wish to achieve in the future, and you connect with that, then you will bring these energies in, and then they can unfold. And so it's up to you to hold a high resonance. You, the divine spiritual being, knowing who you are, I'm this divine being, this magnificent grand being, and what I do makes a difference. And my gift to the world is that I'm holding an image of people working out win-win situations, of people loving each other. Do you realize that image that if everybody loved everybody else, if there was no hatred, which is love gone sour, because you cannot hate somebody unless you loved them first.
Right.
If everybody loved everybody else, how much we would rise. They'd be like all this love, and we'd be in bliss 24/7, because wherever you turn, you'd receive love and you'd give love. And this is the basic nature of human beings, of the divine aspect, is to give and receive love.
Wow, that is so beautiful. What a great way to finish our segment with Daniel the Healer. Oh my gosh, I just feel all giddy, I guess is the word, just feeling so yummy right now, the essence of bliss, inside and out. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful conversation with you, Daniel the Healer. And so thank you so much. Now, I want you to share with everyone how people can get in contact with you and, learn more about you and work with you on healing whatever it is they desire. How do we do that?
Okay, so I've branded Daniel the Healer. My website is danielthehealer.com. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/DanielTheHealer. My Facebook is facebook.com/DanielTheHealer. My email address is daniel@danielthehealer.com. So it's real easy. You can just connect. All you need to remember is Daniel the Healer.
Right. Okay. That is so cool. I'm writing this all down, and it's like, all I just need to remember is Daniel the Healer. Oh, Daniel the Healer, thank you so much for taking time and sharing your beautiful words of wisdom and insight and gifts of how you gave us a gift today with so much, and how we can, just be more in tune with ourselves, our energy, and just, more loving, and open up our heart chakras, and just, we learned about our auras and just how we can protect them, and just so much. You gave us so much, and so I really, really want to thank you so much for being with us. It was
You're most welcome, and thank you as well. I want you to know that also I've learned specifically for phone interviews to modulate my voice with the love that I have for my world. So everybody listening to me also receives little love bubbles so that they can feel well and receive the gifts of the divine. So thank you as well for having me. I appreciate your reaching out and inviting me to be in this beautiful space. And to everybody, farewell and be well.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, thank you so much, Daniel the Healer. And I want to thank all of you listeners for listening, tuning in. Please feel free to share this show with everyone. And just so all of you know, that this particular show is sponsored by Daniel the Healer. So, see, he's so loving, he's generous, he's giving, he's peaceful, he's blissful, he's all of these wonderful qualities that we all strive and want to have more in our life. And so Daniel the Healer has given us not only his time, his wisdom, his love, and his peace and his healing, but he's also sponsored the show. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So for all of you listening, again, thank you for taking time out of your day to tune in to us. As always, I'm the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Rochelle Marie Lawson, and I'm laughing because I remember when you talked about I am Daniel, and so I'm like, this is so cool. But anyways, I'm the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Rochelle Marie Lawson, and I'm wishing you all peace to your mind, wellness to your body, and tranquility to your spirit. And take good care, everyone, and bye for now.
You can find out more about Rochelle on her website, Rochelle Lawson, ROCHELE Lawson, LAWSON, or at healthhealingwellness.com. Or just click on her websites from the webtalkradio.net page right in front of you. And of course, you'll want to come right back here next week for another episode of Blissful Living. Thanks for joining us.